I've always been the kind of person who double-checks every lock before bed. Call it paranoia, or maybe common sense. I live alone, and my house backs onto woods. Nothing but trees and darkness for miles. But last winter, I realized that sometimes locked doors aren't enough. It was just after Christmas, when the snow had piled up around my porch like a barricade. I'd stayed up late watching movies, half asleep on the couch, when I heard it. 3 soft knocks on my front door. At first, I thought I'd imagined it, but then I heard it again. Knock. 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 I turned off the TV and sat there, heart pounding. Who the hell knocks at 1 a.m. in the middle of nowhere, in a snowstorm? I tiptoed to the door and looked through the peephole. Nothing. Just my porch light flickering over an empty snow-covered stoop. But then I heard it again. Knock. 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 Closer this time, like it was coming from the back door. My breath caught in my throat. I crept through the kitchen, my feet freezing on the tiles, and peeked out the back window. Again, no one there. I should have called the cops. I should have done anything but what I did. I opened the door. Cold air rushed in, stinging my eyes. The yard was empty. No footprints in the snow, no sign anyone had been there at all. Just the wind howling through the trees. I shut the door, bolted it tight, and told myself it was just branches or an animal. I went back to the couch, but I didn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Thanks for letting me in." I felt my skin go cold. I stared at the door, still locked, every window shut tight. But I swear, I heard footsteps upstairs. I don't have an upstairs. My house is a single-story ranch. I grabbed a kitchen knife and crept down the hallway, half expecting to see someone standing in the shadows. Nothing. I checked every closet, every corner. Finally, I opened the attic hatch. Cold air hit my face again, but this time, it smelled off, like wet earth and rotting leaves. I climbed halfway up the ladder, my flashlight trembling in my hand. At first, it looked empty, just insulation and old boxes. But then my light caught something in the corner, a handprint in the dust, small like a child's, and next to it, words scrawled into the insulation. Knock, knock. I climbed down so fast I nearly fell. I locked the attic hatch and pushed a heavy dresser under it. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I sat on my couch, knife in hand, phone on the table, waiting for another knock that never came. In the morning, there were footprints, tiny barefoot prints in the snow, circling my house, leading from door to door, but never away. I moved out a week later. Sometimes when I wake up at 1 a.m., I still hear it. Knock, knock, knock. But it's not at my door anymore. It's from inside the walls. If you ever hear knocking at your door after midnight, don't answer it. Some things don't need an invitation. They just need you to listen. I know how this sounds. Another grown adult saying they're afraid of what's under their bed. But if you'd seen what I've seen, you'd sleep with your mattress on the floor too. It started last year, right after I moved into my new place. A tiny studio apartment in an old converted house. I liked the creaky floors, the weird angles. It felt cozy, safe, like the kind of place you could disappear in for a while. I've never been a good sleeper. Most nights I toss and turn until 3 a.m., listening to the building settle, pipes groan, branches tap at the windows. But the first night it happened, I woke up to a sound I couldn't explain. A low scratching, like someone dragging their nails across wood. I thought maybe it was the radiator, or rats. But it was so deliberate. 3 scratches, pause, then 3 more. Always from the same place, directly under my bed. I told myself I was imagining it. But the next night, it came back. Louder. Closer. I leaned over the side of my bed, phone flashlight trembling in my hand. Nothing. Just the shadows under the bed frame. I barely slept. I told my landlord. He said it was probably pipes or raccoons under the house. But I knew the difference. These weren't random scuffles in the walls. This was patient, like it was waiting for me to notice. A few nights later, the scratching stopped. I thought I'd imagined the whole thing, until I woke up to something worse. Breathing. Heavy. Ragged. Right under my headboard. I held my breath to make sure it wasn't mine. It wasn't. I jumped up, flicked on every light, tore the blankets off the bed. I don't know what I expected to see. Maybe a rat or a lost cat. But there was nothing. Just dust bunnies, and my heartbeat echoing in my ears. I slept on the couch for a week after that. It seemed to help. No noises, no breathing, just blessed silence. But that was worse in a way. I kept waiting for it to start again. Then it did. One night I woke up pinned to the bed. Not sleep paralysis. I could move my eyes, my fingers, but the rest of me felt heavy, like something was lying on top of me. And that breathing was right there. I could feel it, warm, damp, like someone was hiding under the mattress, exhaling through the sheets. I forced myself to roll over, and it stopped, like it knew I was awake. I lay there the rest of the night, staring at the ceiling, too afraid to put my feet on the floor. The next day, I did something I hadn't done since I was a kid. I checked under the bed in daylight. Nothing. Just my old shoes and a couple boxes. I almost laughed at myself. Then I noticed the carpet, right under where my head would be at night. It was matted down, like someone had been lying there for hours. Every night. I decided to set up my phone to record while I slept. Just once. Just to prove I was losing my mind. The next morning, I almost didn't check. I wish I hadn't. The video starts normal. Me tossing and turning, mumbling in my sleep. Then around 2:47 a.m., I stop moving. Something dark moves at the edge of the frame. A shape crawling out from under the bed. Long, thin arms. A head that turns just enough for the light to catch its face. No eyes, just empty sockets, and a wide, toothless grin. It doesn't look at the camera. It looks at me. It presses its face right up to mine, so close I can see its shoulders moving as it breathes. Then it slides back under the bed, dragging its fingers along the mattress frame, like it knew I'd watch this later. I moved out that day, left half my stuff behind. Slept in my car for a week until I found another place. Small. First floor. Mattress on the ground. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I still hear it. That soft scratching. Like it's waiting for me to put the bed back on legs, to give it space. So if you ever hear something under your bed, don't lean over. Don't check. Just know. It's waiting for you to look. I've always heard people say, mirrors are just portals to another world. I never believed that. Not until last winter, when I moved into a cheap basement apartment to save money. The place came furnished. A mattress on the floor, a wobbly table, and a huge old mirror bolted to the wall above the dresser. I remember thinking it made the tiny space feel bigger, less claustrophobic. That's why I left it there, even though the landlord offered to remove it. The first week was fine. Quiet, except for the usual creaks and groans of an old house shifting in the cold. I worked late nights from home, so I got used to the dark, the silence. Then one night, I was brushing my teeth when I noticed something weird. In the mirror, I could see my whole reflection, but the closet door behind me looked slightly ajar, even though I was sure I'd closed it. When I turned around to check, it was shut tight. I'd laughed it off. Maybe the angle was weird, but it kept happening. Little things in the mirror that didn't match real life. My phone on the bed in the reflection, but not when I turned around. A jacket hanging from the doorknob in the mirror, but not there in the room. It escalated fast. One night, I woke up at 3 a.m. to a faint tapping sound. I turned on my phone flashlight and scanned the room. Nothing. But in the mirror, I saw it. A man, tall and thin, standing halfway behind my closet door. His head was tilted, like he was trying to hear me breathe. I flipped the light on. The closet was empty. My reflection was just me, staring, shaking. But the tapping continued. All was from inside the glass. I tried to ignore it, covered the mirror with a blanket. But every night, the tapping got louder, more insistent, and worse. Sometimes I'd see smudged handprints on the mirror from the inside. One night, desperate, I texted my landlord. He said no one else had ever complained about the mirror. He did mention something, though. The guy who rented before me had moved out suddenly, left all his stuff behind. Said he couldn't sleep with that mirror in the room. I decided to film myself sleeping, just to prove to myself I wasn't crazy. When I watched it the next morning, I felt my stomach drop. Around 2:33 a.m., the blanket covering the mirror slowly peeled back, like someone was lifting it from the inside. And in the glass, I could see the man, clearer than ever. Pale, with empty eyes, pressing his palm against the inside of the mirror, tapping. I called the landlord, begged him to help me take the thing down. He came over that day. We unbolted it and carried it outside to the alley behind the building. He propped it against the dumpster while I caught my breath. I swear I saw my reflection one last time, but it wasn't me. It was the man, standing in the glass, grinning, like he was waiting for me to take it back inside. I moved out 2 days later. Sometimes in the bathroom mirror or my phone camera, I swear I still see him behind me. Not always, just when I'm half awake, half asleep, when my mind is quiet enough to listen. So if you ever see something in your reflection that doesn't belong, don't blink. If you made it to the end, you're braver than me. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more stories that'll keep you awake at night. And if you have one of your own, or suggestions for what I should cover next, drop them in the comments or send them my way. You know where to find me.